This interview was carried out as part of my video, The Indie Dev Cheat Code, about the double threat approach of being an indie developer and a content creator together. If you find this video interesting, be sure to check out the main video and the other interviews. And of course, show the devs some love. They earned it. These are broken up into like content creator, in your case, mostly streaming, but you do some YouTube, don't you?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. So it's content creator, indie dev, and then together, both the two things together. So first question is, do you make a point of carving out specific time to make content, or is it more of a hit stream and go kind of thing?
I find the schedule is very important, so I try to always go live at around 8 o'clock in the evening, and I try to get everything sorted out personally before that time. Sometimes I leave stuff till afterwards, but for the most part, yeah, it's all about it's all about carving out that time. It's kind of Monday through Saturday.
Do you put any thought into a brand, like an Irish John brand, or any kind of, I don't want to be associated with this kind of topic, or I don't want to be associated with this kind of behavior kind of thing, or is it just, are you just you on screen and that's it?
Yeah, I try to stay as true to life as usual. I don't really like play a part or anything like that. I think that's a very common thing in content stuff and YouTube especially. But no, it's kind of a what you see is what you get with me always, and I try never to deviate from that, you know. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. It's pretty consistent answer. It's worked out quite nicely. Everybody's had very consistent answers because I was a bit worried that if everybody said something wildly different, it was going to be hard to get a cohesive message together. So some YouTubers go through like a full script writing process. Some Twitch streamers like plan out their stream before. Do you have anything like that, or do you just press go and go?
Gotcha. The best streams are usually the ones that are a wee bit pre-planned. During the partner push and that kind of stuff, it was very important. I had a guy basically tell me, Balint would like line up some stuff that we could talk about or do, or topics and stuff like that. But usually, every other stream around the partner push is very, very different. I just wing it 99% of the time. If there's a piece of work in Rise of Piracy that I need to get done, the flow of the stream and that kind of stuff is always better, and it's all reflected in the stats afterwards. It's much better to have a structure to these things. But yeah, 99% of the time, like I said, I just try to wing it honestly, and just hang out really. I do most of my work in the day. The streaming is like just a kind of a evening thing. Sometimes it's nice to have co-working partners and stuff like that, but usually it's not very well structured. It's just messing around in the evening, you know. The real work happens in the morning, afternoon, yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
Do you try and take advantage of trends at all? Like if a new game that everybody is playing's come out, or
No, it's all game development, really. I try not to. The adverse being, I guess, like sometimes if a new thing in Unity or a new tutorial comes out, maybe, or some game dev related content comes out, I might try it out right away. And we did that with Unity 6 when it came out. Very happy with it. We tried it out straight away. We found a bunch of bugs, and we just experimented with the new features and stuff like that. I guess that isn't really trend following, but yeah, that kind of crack, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So most people in content creation, or just on the internet in general, know how crappy and negative it can be at times. Do you have like a strategy for dealing with bad actors, negative engagement, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I used to kind of like try and troll them back, kind of, or just give them just bad information and try and play with them a little bit. But I found that is actually detrimental. Your best way of dealing with trolls and people coming in trying to start an argument or drive the mood down is to literally just ban them outright. Don't engage with them at all. Sometimes if you do engage with them, they can end up kind of sticking around a wee bit and making the rest of the chat feel uncomfortable. And you have to remember, like, this is like, a lot of them will target small streams and come in at the start and try and drive your mood down, try and get a reaction, start clipping you and stuff like that, making you feel uncomfortable, talking about how you look, how you dress, or, making silly comments. Best way to deal with it is just to get rid of it. As you get more experience with it, that becomes more and more apparent. I always tell, I could give you an example maybe of one of the worst. Years and years ago, when I had just started out, it ended up getting so bad with a certain bad actor who was one of these slow burn bad actors who started off quite pleasant, quite nice to hang around with, and by the end of it, they just had a complete meltdown on in the chat one evening, talking about things that are banned in my chat now from talking about. I think it's very important to have very clearly defined chat rules. But yeah, they ended up sending death threats to my mods and all sorts of horrible things said. So to avoid that, get rid of them straight away. Have your auto ban list or whatever you want to call it. Your blocked terms. Have what's the shared ban list thing is one of the best things that that Twitch has integrated in the last while, I feel. Yeah, there you go. That's what I think about that.
So on a related note, what would you say is the hardest part about being a content creator? Bearing in mind, content creator in this case counts things like streaming as well. But like if you think it's harder to make a YouTube video, that can also be an answer. But like, what would you say the hardest thing about being a content creator is?
Keeping the mood up, honestly, not letting personal life stuff kind of invade the vibes of the chat and stuff like that. I feel like people have a tendency to look at numbers and stuff like that after a good stream, for example, and say, oh, if I'm like that every time, the numbers will be good or whatever. But I feel like anyway, it's always better to be kind of more real than that and more laid back. But yeah, it's very difficult sometimes to maintain a consistent mood, for sure. If you've got stuff like at the moment, I'm looking for houses, and that can be infuriating. So I just have a rant at the start of the stream about that usually, and that's pretty much it. But no, maintaining consistency, maintaining what you call it, a schedule as well is very difficult. Most of the time nowadays, I'm pushing streams out or I'm cancelling them outright because I'm driving for 2-3 hours a day looking at properties and that kind of crack. So that's a real pain in the arse. But yeah, consistency and keeping the mood up and not letting things influence your mood is very difficult. And,
okay, so this is the last of the content creator questions. If you could only improve one thing about your content creation side of your business or activities, whatever, what would it be?
One of my biggest regrets is not like uploading even VODs of stuff to preserve them. Over the years, I would love to be able to look back at the start and stuff like that. I kick myself every time for not doing it, and I never actually do it. But yeah, it would be really nice if I put more emphasis on the YouTube side of things at the start, maybe, and got into a regular, consistent pattern with uploading it, editing it down, stuff like that. It's next to impossible to find, especially when you're starting out, find people to help with that. And yeah, that's one big regret I have.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of forgot the question, but I think
it's just what would you if you could only improve one thing? What would it be?
YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. So indie dev questions. How important would you say technical ability is for somebody who wants to get into indie dev?
It's definitely a huge advantage if you have a programming language, any programming language, to get into it. But like the way that things are now, Godot, Unity, very easy to get into and get started with. The longer your project goes on, the more difficult it becomes. So yeah, I think it's not essential to have a technical background, especially seen as like in things like Unreal and Bolt, Photon. You don't even need code anymore. You can just draw up your flows and stuff like that using blueprints, etc. But I think it's very accessible nowadays. What you call it, the coding and stuff like that. I went into it with many years of web dev experience, and that was definitely a big help at the start. Not to say I was any good at it, but it helped with the initial shock value of it. The engines nowadays are so insanely powerful. a lot of like new folks come in and just build something. I don't want to blow smoke up your backsides either. Like, if you are thinking about getting into game dev, 99% of YouTubers will tell you, oh, it's really easy. And I made $1 million in 5 minutes making this tiny game that sold 1 million copies. There was 17,000 games uploaded to Steam last year. It is an incredibly frustrating journey at times. It's very rewarding. The enjoyment is in the doing and the creating, in the creative aspect of it. I do recommend everybody try it out at least. Try out all the different engines and all the different software out there and Blender, and it's great crack. That's all. That's all I'd say about it. Definitely, it would be great if you had a technical background, but it's not essential. Definitely.
Okay. So there's plenty of fairy tale stories like Five Nights Freddy's, Among Us, Balatro, games like that. Do you think these create an unrealistic expectation for new game developers,
Absolutely.
or should they be like aspirational?
I think it's good to have motivation. But just like there's a lot of get rich schemes nowadays that are blowing up. You have every Tom, Dick, and Harry running at various things. I don't want to. I don't want to name drop some awful schemes and pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes, all that kind of crack. It's not like that for 99.999% of people. And I feel like a lot of content out there is actually pushing that narrative that it's very easy to get rich with building your own game and stuff like that. It's really not. It's just about hard work. And I always say to people, the only difference between this is kind of more to your previous question, but the only difference between all the engines and stuff like that is the person using them. It's all got to do with motivation and what idea you have, what mechanics you have, all of that kind of crack. Also marketing and stuff like that really comes into it. But no, it's not a get rich scheme, and it's very difficult. And people getting into it with the idea that they're going to build something over the weekend and it's going to sell millions need to. Best of luck to them. Fair, but it's not that way for most people. Yeah.
Do you think it's having a completely unique, never been done before idea is important, beneficial, even possible at this point?
I feel like there's a lot of clones of other games nowadays. But no, yeah, like the better the idea, sure, but like you gotta kind of get play testers behind it and make sure that it's fun, because it's always going to be fun to the creator. But or sometimes it's not. Like I've built a few prototypes thinking, oh, this is going to be great, and they end up completely useless. So yeah, it's definitely about uniqueness, putting your own spin on things. And we're lucky in the fact that, like, all of these all of these game engines are so nice at being able to accommodate pretty much everything you can think of. You can kind of create in these engines nowadays. So yeah, just try them out, I guess. I don't think it's essential. I think there's a lot of clones, very successful clones out there, where they take an existing successful game, change one or two little small aspects of it, and re-upload it, basically. But yeah, no, credit to them. Like, yeah, if the gameplay is fun already and you can add a little bit to it, sure, why not? That's not to say like there's a lot of asset flips up there as well, but no, I don't think it's that important nowadays. I think people buy anything, unfortunately.
That's one for the box. That people buy anything. So if money stopped being a concern at all, how different would your game development process look like? Like, would you hire people, or would you just carry on as is, but with no stress, kind of thing?
I would definitely hire some people. Yeah, I've been lucky enough over the last year to be able to hire somebody for artwork, and I've always said it. Having an artist on your team is like having a cheat code for somebody like me who just does code, and like, I can barely do anything else. I just barely struggle or barely scrape my way through with the rest of things. But having an artist is incredible. I also have somebody helping me with UI stuff like that. So I would definitely hire, 100%. I feel like indie dev, depending on the scale of the game, is extremely difficult for a solo. And yeah, I've been lucky over the last while, but yeah, it's like the heavy lifting definitely needs to be one person, but if you can get people to supplement your abilities and fill in the gaps, it's invaluable. Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you find it difficult to switch between the technical stuff, like the coding and all that, and the creative side, which I guess is less art for you, but like you still got writing and things like that, haven't you, to deal with?
Yeah,
Do you find it
yeah.
difficult to switch between those two modes?
Yeah, it depends on the workload at the time. Luckily, I've had a lot of testers giving great feedback over the last while, and it's allowed me to dive into a lot of the technical stuff, and then like have gaps then between just looking at things and analyzing. Um, like I said, like design kind of stuff was like a wee bit more boxed, so I was able to jump between them all a lot easier, like with stop gaps between each like batch of tests, etc. Yeah, jumping into the different software sometimes can be very frustrating, especially like when the hotkeys are similar but different. Very very awkward sometimes, but it's means to an end. Like if you can batch up some of the pieces of work you need to do, and do it all at once. 1 month you focus on Blender, creating assets, and the next month you focus on the implementation and code side of things, and maybe spend a few weeks on effects or stuff like that. Like if you can batch things together, that's always worked out really well for me. But yeah, it's difficult switching between them all. Yeah.
So, last one of the indie dev only questions. What's the hardest part about being an indie developer?
Everything. You have to wear about a million different hats, it seems, and every other week you figure out that you need another hat to wear. So, yeah, it's insane. We've listed them off on stream a few times, like just the top 50. But yeah, it's insane. I think marketing is one of the things that indies really struggle with, myself included at the start, especially. Like, when do you get time when you're deep into your idea, especially at the start of your idea, when everything's going really fast? When do you get time to just take a second, grab a video, edit it down, upload it to socials, etc. That can be really annoying. So if you can have somebody to help you with that stuff, especially near the beginning of your project, you're golden. But yeah, just the amount of stuff. Like I have a C# background, and I'm doing animations and state machines for what happens when a character comes into range. Sword fighting and all that kind of crack. Also, just knowing about the different ships and stuff in Rise of Piracy. I don't know much about that stuff, to be honest. And it seems to be a real point of contention on the Discord. Sometimes I'll look back at it and people are arguing over how many cannons this ship has and how many sails that one has. I don't know about that stuff, man. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. All right, and let me know in early access if you want me to change it. But at the time being, anyway, is all just about bug fixes and getting everything stable. Yeah, managing demand and expectations. Managing expectations is, I think, the hardest thing for an indie, especially a solo dev. You don't know where to put your time, and figuring that out can be really, really difficult. Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the combo questions: what was the decision to be an indie dev and a content creator? Those two things, was that like one big decision, or were those two separate things that just coincide?
I didn't even know game dev existed on Twitch until I kind of started the journey. I had done a couple of tutorials in Unity. I always wanted to do game dev, always, all my life, and I was stuck in web dev stuff. And I enjoyed it at the start, but in recent years, it became a little bit more of a chore than something to be kind of enjoying every day as a day job. But yeah, I started doing some tutorials and stuff in Unity, and I already had C# under my belt, so I was quite happy with that. Going into sorry, trying to find the words now. Going into the streaming was very like, I just one day I was like, I wonder if anybody's streaming Unreal or Unity or something like that, and I found somebody doing Unreal, and from that, then I found like another. It was a very small community at the start. It was about 15 or so regular streamers, and other people doing Unity, mostly Unity and Unreal. Control really hadn't picked up at that point, but yeah, I found a guy called Syed Aman, and he was doing a game called. I can't remember. It was an RTS game in Unreal, and it was incredible. And it was multiplayer, and you could jump in with him and play against him in his playtests. And I did that a few times. But one of the days I was in his chat. I don't have C++. He was doing it mostly in C++ without all of the blueprints. And he had a problem with one of his statements that he was writing, and I helped him out with it. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this as well. And remember the flipping panic attack that I had when my camera arrived and all that. I was having second thoughts. But yeah, I got started then. And a couple of weeks later, I'd met a load of awesome people that just wanted to help in the chat. A couple of trolls here and there, but most of the people I met were incredible. And now, whatever it is, like 5-6 years later, I've met some really just amazing friends, legends of game dev that are helping me out every flipping day, it seems, and just people to motivate you and push you forward, and that you can bounce questions off, and just wonderful, amazing people that you struggle to meet people of this caliber IRL, like all having the exact same that they're interested in and stuff like that. It's incredible. And since college and stuff like that, like I met a few lifelong friends in college that really kind of enforce the idea of like if you're into the same things, you're just going to get on well. And we get on well as like a house on fire and in the chat. Like we're always talking crap to each other and give some of them hard time, but banter and all that crack, but yeah, no, it's incredible. I love the content side of it, and I love the game dev side of it. So I think it kind of they go hand in hand, wouldn't I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am now in terms of skill with Unity as well, and just knowing various things about the engine and methods of doing things without people literally telling me in the chat. So I owe a lot to the chatters for sure. Yeah.
It actually goes nicely into the next question, which is if you had to stop one, like we're not saying like you just decided one day to stop game dev, because when I ask this question, most people are going, but I wouldn't stop game dev. But like, hypothetically, if you had to stop one or the other, streaming or game dev, would you continue doing the other? Like, would you continue game deving without streaming? Would you continue streaming without game dev?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know why the camera keeps moving around. I do apologize. No, absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely love both. If the streaming had to go away, and it might for a wee while when I move house and stuff like that, I might need to take a break for a while. I have to keep going with the game dev. It's my day job now, and I love it. I love it all. And even when I can't stream, I'm still chatting away to these people on Discord and stuff like that. So I love both sides of it.
Okay. Yeah. So how much, if at all, do you find that content creation and game dev like sort of create a feedback loop? So you get people find your game maybe through Steam or whatever and come over to see you on Twitch, and people on Twitch obviously find your game through the stream. Is there kind of a feedback loop going there, or is it more or less separate?
I feel like a lot of people that find the game don't find the stream. And I don't think that they would be very interested in it. I think the socials and stuff like that do well from people finding the game first. But yeah, there's been a few occasions where somebody will come into the chat and just randomly found me and already had the game wishlisted, which was cool. So that sometimes happens. I think like game devs definitely enjoy the streaming side of things a bit more, and we try to just talk rubbish a wee bit as well, and trying to make game dev interesting to people who have no interest in coding or game dev is a struggle, obviously. But I feel like the redeems and the silly things that we talk about sometimes and the side project stuff, I feel like that's quite good for getting engagement out of people that maybe don't have any interest in Unity or C# or any of it really, or even the game. But yeah, we do have we have a good mix amongst the chatters of people who are game devs, people who are into game dev or want to learn it and stuff like that and can ask questions, and also like just people that are hanging out because the vibes are good, and that we have good times, where we just talk random rubbish. Yesterday we spent, I think, 20 minutes redesigning one of Fiat's greatest cars, I would say. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one with the two little spotlights above the engine.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yeah,
which car you mean.
yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know the name of it either, but probably tried to erase it from my memory. Um, if you were starting from scratch today, like starting from the absolute beginning, and you could click your fingers and one potential way of funding your game just happened. So this could be, being a successful YouTuber and funding it with the money from that, or finding a publisher like you did, or crowdfunding on Kickstarter, something like that. Any potential way of funding a game. You could click your fingers and that one method happened. Which way would you choose
Hmm.
to get your game funded?
Ooh. I feel like Kickstarter is really good for wish lists and stuff like that. I feel like the publisher, I think, would be the one way. I don't think I'd change the deal that I have at the moment. You get some horror stories about some publishers and stuff like that. So I think it's very much a good publisher deal. I think supersedes all the rest of it. Kickstarter is great, obviously, for visibility and just the marketing side of it is very intense. Um, but yeah, it's great for getting people over to the stream, I think, as well, and stuff like that, and getting people interested in the development process. Um, yeah, no, I think publisher deal is what I'd go for again. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's great having the security and um, the whole point or the worst part about the whole lot is not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to change tomorrow. I feel like that's the safety net you kind of get with a publisher is like you can always talk to them and you can always you know change things or get help. I think that's the best part of that. You don't get that with the other methods that you mentioned. I feel
So
personally.
you've kind of already answered this question, but I'd just like to ask it anyway because it gives you a chance to answer it in isolation rather than as part of another question for the sake of the
Mm-hmm.
video. So it's kind of open ended. You can apply whatever caveats you want. You can say, well, only if this and only if that kind of thing. But if somebody wants to become an indie developer, should they?
I think everybody should try it. If you're watching this video, that you're putting this up on YouTube, right? If you're watching this, you're obviously interested in game dev and the indie side of it. Yeah, you're halfway there. If you have the interest, if you have if you have the interest, you're honestly halfway there. Like I was hemming and hawing about starting game dev for around 7 years before I actually started. I've always wanted to be a game dev, but I didn't really take it kind of seriously. Nowadays, it's so accessible and it's free. Like if you can spend a couple of hours in the evening just trying it out and checking it out, I would do that definitely. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's very enjoyable. Um, it can be extremely frustrating at times. You will want to give up at times. There's times where, like, first thing you want to do is look at source control, right? Take it from me, all right? Get your source control sorted first. That frees you up. That you'll know that you're never going to lose work or whatever. But everybody kind of goes through the same kind of motions, and you'll know very quickly whether or not you want to go for it. Give yourself plenty of time, manage your expectations, manage your own expectations. I mean, like a lot of false information on YouTube, especially a lot of people saying, it's an easy way to make money. It's not. It's a difficult process. You can get lucky. You can get very lucky, but go into it with the expectation that yeah, it's going to be hard work. There's a lot to learn. You will be fighting the engine sometimes, depending on which one you get. And don't bother. The whole, like, I get a lot of this question as well, like which engine is the best, etc. The only difference is the person using it. So just try them all and see which one kind of fits your project. And yeah, there's plenty of tutorials out there. There's some amazing content creators and Twitch people as well. You can ask them questions live. I have a starter pack on my Blue Sky. Actually, I think you're in it, Pigs. And just people where I've observed somebody coming in, not myself, and asking a question, and the person actually taking their time to go through it and explain exactly like what's going on. I think that's one of the best things about Twitch. Like you get this instant feedback, instant you can see it. You can see the process live and decide if it's for you. I think everybody should try it. Yeah, absolutely. If you have a game idea, if you have something that you've always wanted to do, if you enjoy gaming, I barely play any games anymore. I just love the development side of things. Yeah, go for it. Absolutely, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so we got to the last question. This one's short by design. If you could only give one short piece of advice to somebody who's planning to be an indie developer / content creator, streamer, YouTube, whatever, what would that short piece of advice be?
If you're starting with content stuff,
Yeah.
I would say start slow, be yourself, and don't put up with any crap. Don't let anybody else be your drive your stream or try to be the boss. All right, it's your house, your rules. You build the community that you want. Like-minded folks. It's all about the community. It's all about the people that you chat to every time you hit live. The people that you're excited to see and hang out with. It's all about that, honestly. And anybody who tries to come in and make you feel uncomfortable, honestly, there's a lot of that when you're starting out. People saying how you look or trying to drive the conversation into topics that they know you don't like, etc. That kind of stuff. Just put a stop to it straight away. Be firm and build the community. It's all about the community. Build the community that you want. There you go.
The video game industry is currently the most lucrative entertainment market, and it's not even close. The independent video game industry alone is worth around $5 billion, and is expected to double over the next 5 years.
There's just all this insane shit over the last 5-6 years. I don't know, dude. My life's completely different now. It's a completely different time.
And I was always interested in games. I just never really thought that I could do it. I didn't think I was smart enough. I thought it would be too competitive for me to get into.
There was a lot of those conversations, and me and the co-dev that was working on 10 Bells, we realized very quickly, we don't have this money. So
I used to kind of try and troll them back, or just give them just bad information and try and play with them a little bit. But I found that is actually detrimental.
Instantly, I think the first day I streamed game development, 2 people came into my chat and they were like, "Shut the hell up, you stupid B word. You're not a real coder. Go make me a sandwich." And I was like, bruh.
It's possible that it's a possibility that it exists, and there is a chance, but it's like winning the lottery when we talk about those kind of games.
It does take a toll a little bit on your ego when you have to hear that over and over again.
You're probably just using the whole "I make games for me" thing as an excuse to avoid having to face the prospect of failing. So maybe you should stop fannying about and get on with it, Beaks.